All right. Hello, good morning, good evening, and good night. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic because today, boy, do we have a video today. What we're talking about is we're talking about Yieldmax. More specifically, we are going to try and predict this week's Yieldmax dividend. And how we're going to do that is basically I have all the groups of when Yieldmax pays. Yieldmax is actually destined to have a declaration for the next dividend tomorrow. Today is the 29th. If you look on the right of my screen, tomorrow on the 30th, they are looking to declare their dividend. And that's going to be from the Group A ETFs. If you look at the chart at the bottom on the very left, TSOY, Crash, GOY, YBIT, and etc. What I've done is I have all of their ETF stock price charts up. And we're going to be looking over the past month's history for each one in order to determine what our YMAX dividend is going to be for this week. But something fun to keep in mind is I also have last week's dividend payers, which was Group D for YMAX. And so I want to compare and just go off of MSTY. We have AMZ, we have Dizzo, not Lizzo, and a couple more to kind of go over to see, okay, what dividend did YMAX pay out last time around, and how did that correlate to those ETFs? This is a little bit of a video that's going to touch on different subjects, and it's kind of more like a speculation video, to be honest, because we don't know exactly what YMAX is going to pay for a dividend. I'm not even sure if this method works, but I want to share with you because I do believe that this is our best predictor in kind of determining what YMAX will pay out, and then tomorrow I'll make a video about the dividend. So if that does sound good, we're currently up to 5,933 subscribers, 415 subscribers in the past 28 days. Thank you very much to everyone who subscribed. We just keep the subscribers coming in. We're close to 6K. We're going to get there very soon. I'm super excited. Okay, let's get into this video. The last dividend for YMAX was actually approaching one of the highest dividend markers that it's paid in a while when we're going to weekly dividends. You can see here 270, 2076. 2076, almost 21 cents was, oh wow, no, look at this 2270. We almost hit a new high in terms of Yieldmax dividends for a weekly basis. My apologies on that. That was the previous week. Those were from the Group D ETFs, if you look on the very right on the bottom. So what we're gonna do in today's video is, knowing that we got paid out about 22 cents, almost 23 cents from our YMAX dividends, we're going to look at these ETFs that are in Group D, and we are going to determine, okay, did they kind of correspond and did they kind of produce that yield? So what we're looking at here is we're looking at MSTY. We're starting with MSTY because there's a huge dividend yield, and it was likely a huge contributor in the fact that YMAX paid out a 0.2268 dividend the last week. Now, when we look at this chart, we're roughly probably going off of about, I'd say about September 26th, 27th, later in September, because you could see here the declaration date being the 23rd. It's going to be a little bit before then. So maybe even we might go for about the 18th, 19th, somewhere about there. That's where most likely our last YMAX dividend contribution from MSTY started, and for all of the Group D ETFs. So if we go to the 20th and 19th here, we're going to look at this stock price, about $22.42, and we're going to go to the 19th of October, the very next month, and see where that compares. And you can see here, the reason why I did it is because you could see this is where they paid out that last dividend. They had the jump, but you could see the stock price went all the way from about $22 to $29. That is a huge increase, and that probably produced a huge dividend for YMAX, as seen in MSTY's dividend. You can see that right here, $4.19 from MSTY, the biggest dividend MSTY has pretty much ever paid, and obviously a Group D ETF, so it went towards YMAX. Now we look at AMZ. When we look at AMZ, we're going to the 19th of September. Cool. About this mark, about 1951. And if we go to the 19th of October, 1951, keeping that in mind, it was about the same marker, 1963. So there was probably not much of a dividend paid from AMZ, just because the stock price ended pretty much flat. It did still pay a little bit of a dividend, but wouldn't have contributed as much as MSTY, if you understand my point. Now we're going to the 19th of September for Dizzo. We have 1592. We go to the 19th of September for this ETF, and we see roughly about 1592 to 1643. That's about a 2 to 3% gain. So there was a little bit of a gain from Dizzo, but you could see here MSTY most likely carried that, and potentially so did SMCY, because these were two huge dividend payers at the time. We go here, we see at this September 19th here, you can see a share price roughly about $52.30. And when we go to the 19th of the next month, you could see here we hit a price of about 57. So we got 52, roughly about 52 to 57. So SMCY was another huge pair. And when we go to the group in terms of dividends, you can see that on the bottom right here, you could see that MSTY, AMZ, Aptly probably performed the same, Dizzo a little bit, SMCY. So there was some really big dividend payers within the last week's dividend. And I'm just going to kind of delete these here so my computer has some free space and it's not going to be too crazy. Now we're going to this week. So we know that last week they produced a really good dividend. They had pretty amazing results from the underlyings. Now we're going to look at this week's. And if we go to Group A, if you look at Group A here, we have TSOY crash. I didn't include crash in this because I have TSOY does the exact opposite, but I'm really not sure why they have a bear ETF in this. Maybe just to kind of offset TSOY's price appreciation. You have GOOY, YBIT, OARC, Exxon, Snowy, and TSMY. So looking at over the past month how these funds have performed, you can see about here we have the actual down about 9.51%. So it will exactly tell us how much each ETF has moved. And you can see TSOY, obviously a lot of movement within the last month, down about 10%. But is that going to produce an amazing dividend? Sure, it might produce a decent dividend, but of course, because the share price has declined, most likely the dividend will be smaller too, as it's based, the percent of the dividends based off of the share price. Now we're going to GOOY. GOOY, this is what we like to see, up 1.18%. That would contribute a pretty good dividend to YMAX. We have YBIT, which is down about 0.36%, so not very much movement there. YBIT is unlikely to kind of contribute a huge dividend to YMAX. We have OARC now. OARC is zero, right on the nose. It started at 1044 and most likely ended right at 1044. So most likely going to be a very small dividend from OARC. We move to our next one, Exxon, and we see a decline of about 0.48%. Once again, very flat. We see Snowy, 0.43 to the negative, once again very flat. And then we have TSMY. TSMY is likely to carry this YMAX dividend. I think our YMAX dividend is going to probably be closer to about 20 cents to 18 cents, 18 to 20 cents, somewhere between there, just because you look at the previous dividends paid out in the previous week by the Group D ETFs, they were significantly more volatile than they were. We only really have TSLY and we have TSMY, which had a bunch of volatility. The rest of the Yieldmax ETFs for this group have been fairly flat. So that's my reasoning behind a dividend that might be closer to the 17 to 20 cent range. And then when we put this in perspective to YMAX share price, it's likely to hit about the same marker, because for the past month, and really we can jump to the 3 month here, YMAX's price chart has been relatively flat. That means that a majority of the dividends that it's paid out is just kind of keeping the stock price level. It's paying out exactly what the stock price is going up by, appreciating by capital wise. So it's going to be interesting to see what they pay out tomorrow. Of course, that declaration date is going to be then, so we will see. I'm estimating a dividend about 17 to 20 cents. I guess we'll see where that falls. I definitely think it's going to be less than this one here in the previous week, but I guess only time will tell. And let me know your predictions down below in the comments, and I'll be sure to get back to you. I'm very excited to see what you guys say as well. So going to be very interesting. So if you look forward to seeing it together, we're up to 5,933 subscribers. Remember to subscribe if you're interested in this YMAX content and high dividends in general. Of course, I have a big position in that. I didn't show it in this video because I just wanted to show what I thought the YMAX dividend could potentially be going by some underlyings, and we'll see then. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please do take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.